My name is Tracy Leanman. Our business is Musical Innovations, and we are what's called a full-line school band and orchestra dealer, which means that we sell and rent instruments for school bands and orchestras, also classroom instruments like recorders, pianos, guitars, and then everything that goes with that, music, accessories, gifts, repairs, and we also teach lessons. Even though I came from within the industry, per se, because I worked for another music company, found out there were a lot of decisions to be made about how you account for things, how you account for rental income, how you book things, when you charge sales tax and when you don't, and how to set up a GL, selecting software, things that happened before I got to the other company that I wasn't part of. There was also a lot of things that had to do with staffing. We were totally unaware that we could be dead quiet in the store for a whole day, and then from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, there'd be a line out the door. And so we weren't really prepared for the staffing needs, the up and down of the rental season. Music business like ours will do about 25% of their entire annual sales in that 6 weeks of back to school. So it's sort of like Black Friday for a department store. It's crazy. We weren't prepared for that. We weren't prepared for the fact that schools would want us to be there in the evening and then we had no one left to run the store. Some of the groundwork that has to be laid. Not being a business major, it was difficult. I have a lot of friends in the music industry that helped us out a lot, and I called them all the time and asked for help all the time. And I think they probably got tired of me, but they were people who had been through it before were a huge help. We do a lot of sharing. For example, when we go to the NAMM show, which is in Anaheim in January, and then it's in Nashville in July. It's twice a year, and that's our trade show. And we do a lot of sharing. I'm on the speakers list, so I always do a session there in their Idea Center. But I go to other sessions, and I will sit down with my friends who have owned stores a lot longer than I have, and I'll say, I have this problem, help me out. How do I do this? Or have you experienced this? And then I have people that call me. I just spent yesterday a half an hour on the phone with a guy who's trying to move from band only to band and strings. We do share a lot. I won't say steal from each other, but we borrow ideas from each other. We are what we call competimates. We're sort of competitors, but we're more mates, more friends. We have a fairly small staff. We have about 10 people, but we try to take turns and be sensitive to each other's needs. A lot of our folks have children, and they might have a parent-teacher conference or a concert or a awards assembly. We have a big calendar where we put down, I absolutely have to be off this day, or I have to be off this day, and we try to make sure the store is always covered. I really, truthfully, don't take a lot of time off. And you know, now that our children are grown and gone, it almost doesn't matter. Not that my husband doesn't matter, but he's really flexible. So if I have to stay late one day, he's fine with it. I love rental season. We rent now about 1,000 instruments a year. So that means 1,000 young kids are going to come in here and see their instrument for the first time, and their faces are going to light up, and they're going to be all excited, and the parents are going to be hesitant because, you know, they're starting middle school and that's scary, and then they're spending $1,000 on an instrument over time, of course, and that's scary. But when it comes right down to it, getting those parents engaged and getting the kids excited is by far the best part. We'll go to a different school every night and do a rental program and get to see firsthand what the band directors are doing or the string teachers are doing in their rooms. We'll get to interact with the kids. Sometimes we're the ones who kind of mouthpiece test them or fit them for an instrument. And it's wonderful to see. They'll come in and say, oh, I know I want to play the violin. And I said, well, have you ever tried a viola? No. And 75% of them leave with something other than what they thought, just because there's so much out there that they don't know about, that they're not aware of. And we have the best time. You know, we goof around with them. We make funny noises on the instruments just to get them excited. We have a lot of fun with that. One of my least favorite things is definitely coming to a parent, especially if the child's present, and saying, we just can't rent to you. And we don't come out and say it's because of your credit score, but we have a form that we hand them that says you can contact Equifax if you want more information. And they know. Most of them know before they come in the door that that's going to happen, but that's sad because then the child gets upset. And because our policy is always to get them to fall in love with an instrument before we start talking about money, because we want them to think it's about the kids and the instruments, not the money, The downside of that is if they're turned down for credit, it's just a heartbreak for everybody. The other not favorite thing is allied to that, and that's calling people up and saying, look, if you don't bring this back, we are going to have to press charges. And I hate doing that. And then they yell at us, and it's our fault they lost their card, and it's our fault they can't pay their rent, you know. And it's heartbreaking because it's not our fault, but I understand where they are. They're in a very tough situation. And the child really wants an instrument, and whether it was their decision making or not, they just can't do it. And that hurts. Failure to us is an unhappy customer. Failure even wouldn't be bankruptcy for me, because if we have X number of years doing what we're called to do, and we do it to the best of our ability, we're succeeding. I get upset, for example, when I get a phone call that says, well, I came in and your person didn't look me in the eye, didn't talk to me, didn't make me feel good. Or somebody returns an instrument, and we've had it, I think, 2 or 3 times in 6 years where a person comes in and says, I'm just not happy with my experience, so here's my instrument, I'm going elsewhere. That to me hurts more than anything else. That's failure. When somebody would choose to go somewhere else because of something that was said, and it could be me who said it, and doesn't give us the opportunity to make it right. If we've hurt the relationship that much, that to me is failure. Growth is something that's hard to define because we're in a rental business. So is an increasing number of contracts growth? Only if the people are paying you. Is an increasing number of sales growth? Only if your margins stay or get better. To me, growth is, it's not just the number of people coming in the door. It's the GM ROI most importantly. You've got to keep an eye on that, because if your turn goes up but your margin's going down, you're not getting anywhere. You're treading water. I think to me growth is having more schools to visit, having more people come in the door and have a good experience. I'm not a person to have a lot of people come in the door and never come back. I'd rather have less people but have them be lifelong customers. And we talk a lot here about the lifetime value of a customer. Our employees have something we call the $50 lifeboat, which means that any employee at any time can spend up to $50 to make it right for a customer. So if they come in and they're really angry and a free month's rent would help, or not charging them for a repair would help, or if we ordered the wrong book, giving them a free book would help. We do whatever we can to create customer relationships, not just sales. And so growth, I would say more happy people, not just more people. And more sales with good or better, as good or better margins, not just more people coming in the door.